Here is what I feel like God has said. Here's our action now. He gave me 4 points. He said, my Brazil, my fight, my child, my body. And what that means is it's my Brazil. It's time for us to take ownership. It's time for us to look up and look out and see the one child that's in front of us. When I went to every single town in Brazil, it blew me away that I could find prostitution on every corner, that there was children involved in prostitution everywhere. There was not one place that we went to that there was not children involved in some kind of prostitution. It's time for us to look up and look out and see the one that's in front of us. When I was sharing these stories in Brazil itself, one lady came up to me crying and she said, you know what? We cry for the children in Africa. We cry for the children in Angola, but we don't cry for our own children. It's right in front of us. It's right in our own nation. It's right in front of our face. Why don't we cry for our own children? And so my heart is for us to look up and look out and see the one that's in front of us, to rise up and to take ownership and say, not on my watch anymore. I will do something about it. I will see the one and I will be the one. I will see the one and I will be the one. I will look up and I will look out. And the next one is my fight. I believe that there's a story in the Bible about this young shepherd boy David and Goliath, this big giant. And I believe that children in exploitation right now is like a giant. We've fed the giant. We've let the giant get big. The giant has lorded over us. The giant has roared over us. It's oppressed the people. It's oppressed the children. It's oppressed the nation of Brazil for too long. Child exploitation, the exploitation of children in Brazil has been roaring and raging for too long. And I just believe that it's like just like David, when he ran and when he saw the giant, when everybody else said it's too big, we can't do anything about it, just don't mess with the giant, don't get the giant mad, don't wake the giant, don't do anything to the giant. And when the armies took a step back, David, a shepherd boy, took a step up. He ran towards the giant and he said, no, we can take this giant down. He said, isn't there a cause? Don't we have a cause? We could take this giant down. And I'm saying that if we rise up and say, this is my fight, this is my nation, this is my generation, we could take the giant of child exploitation down in Brazil in our lifetime. I believe that it's us saying, what do we have in our hands? What is in our hands? David took the giant down with 3 stones. That's all he had. He had a slingshot and 3 stones. He had what was in his hands, and he took the giant down with what was in his hands. There was a guy in the Bible named Moses, and there were 400 years of slavery and oppression, and Moses used what was in his hand. God asked him, what is in your hand? What is in your hand? And Moses used what was in his hand to free and eradicate 400 years of slavery. I believe if we see it and we take it on as our fight, we see what is in our hands. May it be influence, whatever it has, whatever resource that we have in our hands, we could say, this is my fight and this giant is going down in my generation. The next one is my child. And so what I really believe is if we look up and we say, this is my child, and we all adopt one, we all support one, we all encourage one, we all mentor one. I remember I was in a Latin American country, I think it was Costa Rica, and I was going to start a rescue home, a safe home there. And when I was talking to the pastor, I said, what happens if I start a home in Costa Rica? And he said, Lana, you don't even need to start a home. If the churches did their job, there's enough churches in this nation. If every church just took on one child or adopted one child, we would clear the streets of street children. If we just adopt one or support one or mentor one or encourage one child and saying, I will support that child. I will change a future for that child. I will be a part of that child's life. You know, there's a saying, you may just be one person, but to one person, you're their whole world. And so you could just say, I'm just one person. What could I do? You could change the whole world of a child. To one person, you'll be the whole world. Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100, then feed just one. I believe with my child, if we all adopt one, if we all support one, mentor one, encourage one, take on one, then we could take care of the children of Brazil. And the last one is my body. And so my body is basically, it's a movement for children, that they will know that what is their rights, that it's their body. And I just see it as when somebody goes to touch them, when somebody goes to do something inappropriate, that they'll be able to shout and to chant, my body, and that it'll be a movement. It alerts other people, no, we need to protect this child. We need to step in for this child. And these children will know, no, their body is for themselves. It's not for anybody else. That their body is not to be used as a toy. It's not to be used in slavery. Their body is for themselves. It was not created for somebody else, for somebody else's pleasure. Their body belongs to them. So my Brazil, my fight, my child, my body. That is what we see happening.